Perfect. There's a few more people arrived. So for those of you who kind of haven't met me or haven't been to one of these before, welcome to the CAS 360 New Features webinar. We try to run these sort of once a month just to keep you in the loop with exactly what's going on and where we are with new features and releases, and make sure you are obviously getting the most out of the platform that you can be as well. There's a couple of names here today who I don't actually recognize it or maybe haven't met before. So for those of you who are new or not seen me before, my name's Connor. I look after all your questions and queries and your account management and support side of things here as part of the CAS 360 team. So any questions throughout today, if you'd like to have a call with me afterwards or pop me an email, please don't hesitate to do so and I will do my best to help you out with that as well. We do also have a Q&A section of the webinar open for you today to use at any point that you wish. Between each kind of new release or new section that we cover, I'll give you 30 seconds or so to pop any questions you might have into the Q&A box. And then at the end, we'll spend a couple of minutes going over any questions that might have cropped up throughout the session. Hopefully I've covered everything now, and you may not have any questions, but that's totally fine. And as mentioned, if you do think of one a bit later down the line that we haven't covered, please do let me know as well. Uh, Change this slide over if I can. There we are. So this is the sort of content for today, a bit of an agenda that we'll look to follow. This month, obviously, there's a really hot topic with all the Companies House changes that are due to take place on the 18th of November. So a lot of our development has been geared towards all of the changes that are going to be happening over the course of the next month, making sure all of our clients and users are fully compliant when using CAS 360. But in addition to that, we've had a few sort of user experience based updates, I would describe them as, particularly based on a lot of the client feedback that comes from yourselves. So if we cover bits that you have fed back on to us previously, thank you very much for those. Please keep them coming. And we will, of course, do our best to get them all out and released to you. First of all, oh, can't see the presentation. Bear with me one second. Let me see what I can do. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. Let me do my best here. Hopefully that's better. I think I was just sharing myself as opposed to the rest of it. Please let me know if you can't see the main one. Perfect. People are saying it's worked. Okay, back to where we were. I'll start again. So these are all the sort of agenda for today and the pieces we'll be covering. As mentioned, a lot of our kind of development has been geared towards a lot of these Companies House changes that are due to take place next month. But first of all, what I really wanted to focus on was a recap of the AML and the Companies House personal codes. Particularly over the coming weeks with all these changes, I think it's really important that we kind of hone in and make sure everybody is confident and clear in their understanding of how this is going to work and how CAS 360 can help to benefit you as a firm with all of this as well. One of the new features we have is the ability to add multiple and set default email addresses to different individuals. This is a really good piece in regards to kind of individuals or directors who own or direct multiple companies and having the ability to set different email addresses for each company. So we'll run you through that. As mentioned, we'll then have a little Q&A break between each of these to allow you to pop anything into the chat as well. We've also added the ability to turn on two-factor authentication for signatories. That piece is quite specific to if you're using an e-sign solution, but it's really good for your risk management piece and making sure your clients are the ones who are actually accessing the documents you need them to access. Again, the next piece, really heavily based on a lot of client feedback we've had, is some of the updates we've made to the company summary, as well as a confirmation statement document production screen update, which I'll run you through, which should really help you to automate the process of your confirmation statements in even less clicks than it takes already. And then what I did want to provide for everyone who's here today or watching a little bit later is just an update on some of the major projects that we have on the roadmap, where we are with some of those and what you can expect from us as we head into sort of the final quarter of the year and beyond as well. So first of all, I just wanted to dive straight into our main CAS 360 screen. Hopefully you can still all see this. If it does change to the wrong screen, let me know. And then what we're able to do from here is kind of start right into things. So I'm going to give everyone 10 or 20 seconds just to pop any questions in to begin with that they may have. And then we'll get into our first subject, which is obviously a bit of a review on the AML, CDD, and Companies House personal codes as well. Perfect. So I'm aware with a lot of clients, we've gone through this already. We've touched upon it on previous webinars as well. So this may just be a refresher for yourselves to begin with, or this may be something new that you're looking to kind of take on board and hopefully help you with all the kind of AML and CDD parts of things that are coming as well. So initially down the left-hand side, you'll notice all of our alert filters. These are pretty common amongst all our clients of being used to differentiate what reflects on the right-hand side. But what one we've added is the AML and CDD compliance alert specifically, which when you click it gives you a sort of subdivision of four different ones underneath. Ones that can be set for compliance reviews of dates that we've set, all the way through to contact identity and passport or driving license expiry dates. Try and help you become a little bit more of a lifestyle manager than just an accountancy practice. But these are really good for filtering about what's due and when, particularly in relation to staying on top of all your AML side of things, as well as staying on top of your IDs and making sure you're fully compliant with all the Companies House changes. Again, similar to how your alerts work already, you will be able to click into one of these as the releases come. You'll see you've got some compliance alerts based on the dates that we've set and entered into the system, and you'll get a shortcut to the correct area of the software in order to take action on what needs to be actioned. That being said, the main piece in terms of that AML and CDD is within a particular company, which I'm just going to find this one here. You will see the additional compliance tab. I know lots of you have made use of this already. Some of you may not have used it already, so hopefully this little run through will be a really good kind of refresher on what we have on offer, as well as how what is coming is going to integrate well with this too. So as you come into your compliance tab within a company, you should see the CDD required toggle right at the very top. And as you turn that on, you'll get a full workflow down the left-hand side. As you go through, you'll be able to select your compliance officers, and at each point, you'll see the option to upload any supporting documents. I can give you some examples of those as we go, but as you flick through your workflow down the left-hand side, you'll see things such as your nature of business relationship. You can come into here and add an activity. I'm going to use the only code I know off the top of my head, such as a dormant company. And as you can come into here, you can set your dates and save it, and you'll see it adds it to that workflow that it's presented to us to go through. Any additional documents, as mentioned, will be able to be added at each part of this process. Again, going through your source of funds works in a very similar way. You've got the option for free text and any supporting documents, as well as your source of wealth. Individuals, I'm going to come back to. It's a piece that will become more and more available to you and more automated within the next couple of updates. Hence, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's on the roadmap as well. But I will come back to that piece and what's available right now to help you get underway ahead of all the changes. We've then got a risk assessment. Again, you can turn on and off or add any custom questions to suit what is required for you and your firm and the company you're working on behalf of. And as you flick through, you'll see all the different subheadings for client risk, geographic risk, service risk, and so on and so forth, with the option to select your risk level and CDD level right at the bottom. Again, moving on, as you see all around CAS 360, everything always has the option to add additional notes. Again, you may not need to use this, but it is there as an option for you should you wish to add any notes against this particular firm. And then finally, we have a risk review. Now, this is a little bit different in the UK to some of our other jurisdictions. However, we thought taking something from another jurisdiction and having it in the UK could be really beneficial. So for example, this is where you come in to say who it's completed by, the date it was completed, and you'll have the option here to send to reviewer. Essentially, that means sending it to a second reviewer to review some of the work on the compliance that you've done. It's not compulsory here in the UK as it is in some of the other jurisdictions, but we feel that that adds an extra level of risk management to you as a firm and gives you that option to kind of go as far as you can in terms of managing any risk should, touch wood, anything go wrong in future. So that's a nice little option we've felt could be really beneficial to the UK market. Hopefully you feel the same way as well and do get to use it. But I just wanted to circle quickly back to the individuals before we move on. So the individuals you will see on our roadmap as part of the next couple of weeks updates is a request ID verification. I'm not going to go into that piece too much today. We will do a full webinar dedicated to the ID verification as soon as we have full access in the UK and full release as well. So for the purposes of not overloading on any info on what might not be available just yet, I'm just going to leave that button out for today. As you come through, you'll see your compliance and due diligence toggle similar to before. And as you come in, you'll see the politically exposed persons check might be required. Again, you've got the option to upload anything manually here. Any source of funds you might need to add in against the individual. And this is the piece that you can kind of go ahead with and really run with already in CAS 360 as it has become available to you to use now. This is a really good piece if you have somebody coming into your office with a driving license or a passport or whatever it may be. You can select the identification type. It gives you this pop-up in blue underneath, and you can enter all of the information in here for the passport or driving license or whatever it may be. This piece is, like I mentioned, really good if somebody's coming into your office. You can see the passport is real, you've got it in front of you, and you just want to upload it onto the system without necessarily needing to do a biometric ID check in addition to that. If you have some of these already and you'd like to get them onto the system, I would recommend doing them as soon as you can, because in that way, as we get the issue dates and expiry dates coming through for a lot of these documents, it will begin to trigger the alerts we were getting on the main dashboard in terms of staying on top of when ID documents are going to expire and making sure we have everything up to date. So if that is something you've got to hand at the moment, it could be really good to get ahead of the curve in terms of staying on top of stuff before all these companies' house changes. As part of the ID verifications, you may be getting a lot more of the company's house personal codes as well. And good news for you, CAS 360 does support it. And in my opinion, hopefully you agree, it does make things very, very easy to use when it comes to your company's house personal codes. So with the personal codes, CAS 360 or BGL as a whole, have tried to speak to Companies House about potentially pulling this kind of information through directly. But unfortunately, due to data protection and the security against the codes for those individuals, we are not able to do so as a third-party software. So once your client has either directly with Companies House or hopefully through CAS 360 in the next couple of weeks, has submitted their ID document and received their personal code to their personal email address, they are able to provide you as an ASCP, whether it's an accountancy firm or a legal firm, whoever it may be, with their company's house personal code. That company's house personal code, as I'm sure you're all very aware, is going to be needed for filing moving forwards. In order to look after that and make sure CAS 360 files everything correctly, you can come into your contact section on the left-hand side, use the grayed out search bar in the top right to search for an individual in question. I'm going to use myself on this occasion as I know I've got one in here. Click on the name in blue, and as you open it up, you'll see you've got all the information against this individual in here. You'll be able to go to information, add identification number, select company's house personal code as well as the issue date, enter the number here and press save. Once you do that, it will add a little box to all of your information piece, and you'll see here the company's house personal code is now held within CAS 360. I'm not sure that saying the words "you can now forget about it" is sort of the right way to approach it. But in essence, once it is on the system, the software will look after everything for you in terms of making sure that code is attached to the filings that are going to be happening, such as a CSO1, and making sure they're all done successfully and staying on top of all the compliance changes that are coming into effect. So once you've got those codes and as you start to gather them, you can pop through CAS 360 and add them into this information piece, and then simply just let the software look after it from that point onwards. What you will notice, again, I'm going slightly back to where we just were, but as you come into the compliance tab within your company, as part of the updates that are coming on our roadmap against individuals, is that when you come to here, you will receive a red error notification or a warning notification if your individual doesn't have a company's house personal code added to the system. So as you're flicking through and doing the compliance, you'll be able to notice who does and who doesn't have the personal codes and whether you need to action these sooner or later based on when the next sort of filing date may be due for that particular company or particular individual. So that's something we've added to really help you try and stay on top of everything. If you've got any ideas or suggestions or feedback on any of these pieces in terms of compliance and CDD, we will take them on board and do our best to get them all implemented as quickly as we can. As mentioned, the ID verification piece is on our roadmap. We will be doing a full webinar on that as and when it's released, which is going to be well in advance of the 18th of November deadlines or changes for deadlines. So it will be here well in time for us to get up and running and run a session on how it's all going to work and look moving forwards. If you've got any questions or anything you'd like to see on that webinar in particular in relation to the ID, please let me know. Pop me an email, pop me a message, give me a ring, and we will work it all in so that we cover all aspects of it for you moving forwards. I know that's quite a lot of info for the kind of first topic of the day. So I'll give you sort of 20, 30 seconds to pop any questions you may have into the Q&A section. And then we will move on to our next topic, which is going to be adding multiple email addresses against individual contacts. Perfect. I'll just move on to the next few updates that we've had over the previous month. These are, I wouldn't say are part of massive wider projects, but are actually smaller pieces directed at hopefully helping kind of user experience and making the software a little bit easier to navigate and move around with, and ultimately helping you to produce forms and file things with Companies House in a few less clicks than it takes already. So some of these may be really applicable to you, some of them potentially not so much. But as we go through with those, hopefully some bits you'll be able to pick up and use in your kind of day-to-day use of CAS 360. So initially we've given the option to add multiple different email addresses against an individual, as well as change those and set some as default email addresses and change them as you go through with document production as well. So initially, all I'll do is head to the contacts page. I'll open up a contact. Again, I'll use myself as I know there's some information in there for us to use on this demo account. But what you'll be able to do is, obviously, you may have a primary email in here already. You may not and may wish to add one, depending on kind of what's available on Companies House and what's been pulled through. But if you did want to add multiple email addresses, you can come into here now, select communication details, communication type, and what you'll see, you'll be able to edit email labels. So you can name it email to. If the director has a different company, you can name it email for, and then the name of the company, or however you may wish to do it. And you're also able to set a default one. This is really good if you tend to do more filing for one of the companies as opposed to the other. You can set a default and kind of run with it that way. Admittedly, a very kind of simple and easy change that we've implemented, but hopefully it gives you something or some opportunity to change and do things in slightly less clicks than you would as normal. As you go through and produce documents, you should, I haven't added multiple email addresses on this one, but you should get the option under email options within a document production screen to then flick between email 1 and email 2 in order to make the change that's needed for that particular person. Again, a very short update. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the chat. And the next one we'll move on to is kind of the two-factor authentication that you can turn on for signatories. Now, this next piece is really beneficial and dedicated towards those who are hooked up to an e-sign solution, whether it be Adobe Sign, DocuSign, FuseSign, whoever it may be that we hook up with. This one is kind of benefited towards those types of users. The way in which it works, we will be able to almost force or channel your client into doing a two-factor authentication in order to access the documents that they need to sign. This can be user specific. So if you turn it on as one user and your colleague doesn't want to turn it on, we have the option to do that and go into your own account when you're on CAS 360 and just do it for yourself. But some of the biggest benefits we're going to see is the extra protection you'll see as a firm by making sure people are who they say they are, and making sure it is actually the client in question who is accessing the documents and signing them themselves. It all adds to a wider piece of being as compliant as you possibly can be with CAS 360 and making sure any risks are mitigated so that if you are ever to receive an audit from one of your governing bodies, you have lots of different protections in lots of different channels, and it's just part of building that wider piece. So in terms of how it works, All you need to do is head to your settings down in the bottom left side of CAS 360. As you go across the top to your automated electronic sign-in section, sorry, you'll see in here you now have three different toggles for question. You just need to make sure that you're set to your electronic sign-in settings on the left. You'll see the option at the top for use SMS for 2FA for signatories. That is the simple task of turning on the toggle to turn on everything we've just discussed about making sure they do a two-factor authentication. Again, another relatively small update to the kind of email process of things. Again, it only takes one click of a button and it can be preset as your preference if you want to go on and do that after the webinar. Again, totally down to you, but hopefully gives you that extra peace of mind and extra piece of protection when kind of sending documents out and making sure they're getting signed by all of the correct people. Email sign is completed. Signed document pack is another new toggle we've got in here. Essentially just means they'll get a copy of all the signed versions of the documents that they are signing as well. Again, just builds out that extra kind of risk management piece. It means you get a copy through your documents page on here of the signed document packs, as well as your client getting a signed version as well. Again, not mandatory, totally up to you. We always recommend being as compliant as you possibly can, particularly with all the changes that are coming into place with company sales. So hopefully that gives you just an additional option of being able to do that as well. The next update is slightly different. Again, it comes as part of a wider risk management piece and really helping you protect yourselves. So I'll give you 10 or 20 seconds just to pop any questions in, and then we'll move forwards as well with the next piece. Amazing. So just moving on, both of these next updates in terms of user experience and helping you to do things quite quickly, as well as protecting you in terms of kind of risk management, are all in relation to confirmation statements. We are hopefully going to expand these into lots of different document types, but initially we've gone for confirmation statements as they are the most popular kind of documents that get used day to day and are the most kind of the highest number of a document type that is filed through CAS 360 currently at the moment. So there's a couple of updates in here, again, based on client feedback that we've had. So please, if you've got any ideas, keep them coming. Hopefully it shows that we do listen and do try and implement them as best we can as well. First of all, there are some changes to the company summary itself. Like any good chef, here's some I made earlier, which is not going to load now, typical. This one will. What we have added based on feedback is adding the nature of control for each of the PSCs to the company summary. Again, quite a small change. It was something that was quite popularly requested, and again, adds to your risk management piece in terms of protecting yourself as a firm. Where your client is going to be signing this and approving this document in particular, again, it just gives that extra piece of information in there so they can't turn around and say, that piece is wrong. I didn't approve that. That wasn't us who told our accountant to do that. And again, takes all that risk off of you as a firm. Quite a small piece, but again, hopefully it just gives you another example of how we are listening to you and trying our best to implement and listen to all the feedback requests that we get. Of course, if there are kind of multiple natures of control or more than one, they will all be added in there as well. It's not just the top one. There will be multiple that are added in there. And again, if you do have multiple PSCs, as is with this demo client, it will do it for each of them there as well. So once it's signed, it just protects you that little bit extra. Again, with all the kind of updated compliance rules and procedures that are coming in, it should hopefully kind of just expand that kind of base of protecting you as a firm as we move forwards. Again, in relation to your confirmation statements, this piece moves slightly away from the risk management area of things or risk management side of things, and it actually directs towards more producing documents in less clicks than we currently have to do. So as I'm sure you're aware, and I'm sure you see quite a lot as you go through with your confirmation statements, this is currently how your three documents will look as you come into the platform or come into the document production screen, should I say. As you come into here, you may choose from time to time to opt in and turn on a cover letter, or you may want to turn off a summary or however you choose to do it and make it look. What we have added is the ability for CAS 360 to remember how you done it last time round. So for example, if you had all three toggled on the last time you done a CSO1, the next time you come in to do one, all three will still be toggled on. The idea, again, as part of user experience and just helping to speed the process up in any which way we can, is just to have it preset to whatever you done last time. So if you always have all three turned on, you will now always have all three turned on without having to do anything. The software will remember that, and all it does is save you those extra couple of clicks by turning on and off each of the different documents before you go ahead and download or send all to your client. Again, it's quite a small piece. We've had quite a few little different bits here and there over the previous month, but again, hopefully it's something that will benefit you as a firm in terms of speed and moving forwards and being able to do things as quickly and as compliantly as possible using the software and CAS 360. In terms of what's been released so far this month, that pretty much sort of covers everything. However, that being said, I do want to cover a couple of bits that are on the roadmap that are really major projects, and you're going to see big improvements to the platform based on them as well. So, as before, I'll give you 15-20 seconds just to pop any questions you've got based on what we've covered so far today into the chat, and then I'll proceed with giving you a bit of an update on the roadmap and what to expect from CAS 360 as well. Hopefully, you can sort of see me now and back to me, and I can talk to you all about some of these updates that are coming. As we go through, I will flick back to the other screen and share it with you also, so that you can see some of the little bits I'm talking about as we go through as well. So of course the major one that's kind of hot topic, everybody's kind of speaking about it at the moment, is the ID verification piece, and how CAS 360 is going to be able to help you and support you through all the ID changes and the necessary requirements implemented by Companies House. The update is coming. It will be here well in time for the 18th of November, which is where all of the changes are going to take place. As mentioned, we will be holding a full webinar on the processes of how it's all going to work. We'll show you the ins and outs, we'll answer any questions you've got on it and make sure you're confident using it ahead of when the changes come into effect. What is a good peace of mind for you as such is to know that the software will make you as fully compliant as you need to be when you are doing your ID checks and verifications. If you have any concerns or questions about how to stay on top of things, how to be compliant, and what you may need to do, the software is designed in a way to talk you through it step by step, along with some of the webinars. And anything you put through the software, file through the software, request through the software, any verifications you do through the software will ensure you are 100% fully compliant with all the changes at Companies House. A really big factor that a lot of governing bodies may be looking at if they ever come in and knock on the door is going to see that you've kind of made the effort and you are looking towards being as compliant as you can and putting things into practice as well. Using a software such as CAS 360 does that for you. You'll be able to go on, show any people who may be auditing or coming to pay a visit, show them exactly how the process works and what's involved with the software, as well as all the history that is stored in the software and full reports based on the ID verifications that are coming as well. Again, we will explain that in a little more detail and show you exactly what each of those pieces are as soon as it goes live in the UK as well. Again, I'm just going to flick back to my other screen if I can figure this out correctly and show you a little bit about the next kind of major project we're working on. We are hoping it's going to be with us by the end of the year, touch wood. But the name of the project is something called a health check. Now, a lot of you have given us lots of feedback on the comparison reports and how we can improve those. But one major one we've had is sort of automating the process of updating CAS 360 with information that is changed directly on Companies House outside of our platform. At the moment, we don't do it automatically. The reason being, in case it wasn't you who made that change, we need you to be aware of the changes that are going on and either ring your client up to kind of approve the changes and then pop them into CAS 360. Again, that comes as part of that wider risk management piece. We've listened to a lot of feedback and we are looking to automate that process as much as possible. What will happen, as opposed to a 2 or 3 day comparison report of what's going on, we're looking to do it once every 24 hours and make it almost as live as possible. So as soon as a change is made outside of CAS 360 and directly on Companies House, you will be alerted on your main dashboard within 24 hours of what the change is. You'll be able to view it and then make the necessary changes and approve it in CAS 360 if required. So I'm hoping you can see my screen. Again, please let me know if I've done it wrong and you're not seeing the screen. But on your main dashboard, what you'll see in here is an additional alert, which is known as our health check, hence why it's in the shape of a heart. And as you click on it, you will see, of course, it's a demo account. You won't have as many mismatches as we've got in here. But you'll be able to see where the changes have gone on. And as you click into these, it should show you a little bit more about what the exact discrepancy is and give you the ability to make that change in the exact part of the software without having to kind of come all the way out of your confirmation statement and navigate background. So again, it's going to help you be more compliant in the sense that you'll be aware of changes that are occurring within 24 hours. You'll be able to see what your clients are up to without telling you within 24 hours. And you'll be able to make the change within the software and approve it within the software in far less clicks of the button, which should hopefully speed up your full process when it comes to doing your confirmation statements. Ideally, the way this will work and how it will benefit you is that when you come to do your confirmation statements, you will just be able to fly through the comparison report as you would have effectively updated it as you've gone throughout the year. Again, when that piece is released, we will do a full webinar on it. We'll show you the ins and outs. We'll show you how it works. We'll give you a full list of the types of benefits it may have on you as an accountancy firm and as an individual user looking to go through the software and do what you need to do. So again, please sort of watch this space, keep an eye on us, ask us any questions if you've got them. That is something that is in the works and is hopefully going to be with us by the end of the year. Again, the next kind of thing on the roadmap, the third and final major project we have going on at the moment, of course, amongst all the little kind of projects and feedback pieces we get as well, is looking to add kind of end of year accounts and accounts filing to the main dashboard of CAS 360. I know a lot of you have previously used some of our competitors who have this already and have it kind of implemented. So again, we've listened to feedback based on that, and we're looking to produce something that is easy to use and keeps track of all of those types of things that are due, and it will all be on your main dashboard for you. Again, we will do a full webinar on that. We will show you the ins and outs. We'll show you how it works, make sure you're confident using it. But just to give you a heads up, it's on the roadmap, it's coming. You are likely going to get alerts similar to this within your main dashboard, as well as the option to edit and amend dates within a company for which you need. It will give you kind of full kind of alerts on what's due and when. It will help you track what accounts are due and when you need to file them as well. So it's just an additional piece in there, part of a major project to our dashboard to really help you stay on top of everything from COSEC right across the board, and really encourage you to try and use CAS 360 almost every day or as often as you can, and really make the most out of the software as well. That pretty much covers everything for today. I know it's a lot of different pieces of information sort of all over the software and different parts of it. The reason being it's kind of everywhere. We've taken lots of little bits of feedback and used this month to try and implement some of them at the same time as obviously our ongoing ID verification project, which is a major piece for us in line with all the changes that are coming at the moment. We will have another webinar next month. It will be inclined, if not in the same one, it will be a different, separate, identical piece of kind of talking and webinar and Q&As directly on the ID verification. So bear with us. We are getting there. We are going to release it to you. It will be here in time for all the changes, and you will be able to do all of your IDs safely, compliantly, and to the best of kind of companies' houses knowledge, through CAS 360 and stay on top of everything that way. So if you've got any questions, I'll sit for a minute or two and pop them in the chat, and I'll be able to go through those. If you've not got any questions or you think of some later, let me know. But aside from that, thank you very much for attending today. If you think of any questions later, please let me know, and I hope to speak with you all soon. If not, I hope to see you on the next webinar as well. But thank you very much.